Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sledgehammers in the Office podcast, where we celebrate the heavy hitters on the job site and in the office. If you're new to the show, we usually have two types of shows, and in the recent months, it's been one type of show, which we get a couple guys together to talk about their business, what's going on, and how they're building it. So that's what we have today. I've got Teich, who is our guy that does everything in real estate, from helping people buy homes, sell homes, but a big or the majority of what he does is on the rental side. So he has a rental portfolio that he manages. They have houses that they flip. And then we've got Alex von Reich from Control Analytics, where they handle everything on the data side. And then we are doing a lot of research into the great, big, scary, beautiful, optimistic, pessimistic world of AI. So I've got a construction company here in Arizona, and we're going to get into a lot of the updates from the last month. We're going to finish it out with a section we call Company Thoughts. But before we do that, we need to catch up with the boys. So, boys, what have you been up to this month?
Well, I just got back from closing on the land, so it's official. I am now a landowner, part 2.
There you go.
Now I can take Connor's thing. I'm a multi-state real estate investor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Put that on your bigger pockets profile.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Nice. You can change your Instagram bio.
There you go. Real estate, investor. Yeah, there
nice.
You go. I can get all the scam and spam DMs now.
Got dirt in Phoenix and grass in Wisconsin.
There you go. What would you say that is?
I prefer the word mogul.
Mogul. Oh, yeah. How many properties do you have? 1.5 or 1 1/8? We haven't dug the foundation yet, but it counts.
If you subdivide it could be a lot.
There you go.
There's always potential.
Oh, yeah. What about you guys? What were you up to?
We went to a pumpkin patch and I got kettle corn.
Nice.
Something you guys probably don't know about me, but I love popcorn, all types.
Okay.
Kettle corn's great. So this one, they had a good one. So
there you
go. Had my brother-in-law and friend over, and we put the grass in my backyard, and we're finally done. And it's
nice,
growing tall, very wet.
Until it gets hot, and then it all dies.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll work on that when we get there in May. But
True.
Looks good. Very green. Yeah.
We've got 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. You got time.
Yeah. We did a sod overseeded with rye. So it's green now, and then that'll die off in May. But looks good. Wife and daughter like it, so we're in the clear.
Yeah.
There you go.
Then last week we went up to Prescott to look at some land up there. Someone had subdivided a couple sections, and they're selling off different parcels, so a 30-acre and 40-acre, and could subdivide that further and build some cabins or houses. But it's kind of 30 minutes northwest of Prescott. We're kind of looking potentially up there as second home, or build a second home and then sell off some other houses. But beautiful up there. It's middle of nowhere though. We met this old guy, Vance, out there. He lives and breathes the Prescott Valley. He's a former cattle rancher. Biggest hands you've ever seen. He's done a lot of work. Probably 55-year-old dude. But he's excavated roads through this thing. And he goes, yeah, I did this mile in the past 2 days, and I did over here, and I got the well. He just knows everything about it.
Wow.
I imagine if we bought it, you'd see him like walking around at night with his lantern. Not the land.
Does he come with the land?
He has a house. He did. He bought a parcel, sectioned off 4. He built the house, so he is on the land.
There you go.
So seems like a really good guy. Good old boy.
Good little boy.
No, good old boy.
Oh, good old boy.
Jeez.
There you go.
Get faster internet, Alex.
Oh, okay. Says the guy who's got 3 pixels on his face.
Exactly.
What about you, Thaddeus? What did you do?
I actually went golfing for the first time in like over 10 years, probably like 15 years. So
how many balls did he lose?
Oh, no, I was a net positive on balls. I think I got 8 additional balls by the end of it.
Nice. What
Yeah.
course do you go to?
Geez, it was out in Litchfield Park. I haven't got one of their stupid markers for it, but I forget.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was for the painter's birthday. He had me and Ethan out, so we came out on a Saturday, played a round of golf, and then we made a bet, and it was the painter and his brother-in-law versus me and my cousin. And we played a was it a scramble?
Mhm.
And so we had like a $20 bet and we won, and it was really just because my cousin Ethan is a collegiate golf player. So
Do they know that before they made the bet?
oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
Was it bad or was it a pretty close game?
It was close up until about hole 12, and water found its level. And
Gotcha.
so, yeah.
In
Gotcha.
a bath.
So
So were you guys just taking your cousin's shot every time, or did you actually use any of your shots?
there were like 2 of mine that we used.
Hey, there you go.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good, Pat. Out of
Yeah.
120 swings, two's pretty good.
True.
Essentially.
But if you think about it, the more you swing every round, the more, it's the lower cost per swing. So you're actually getting more value for money hitting more balls during a round.
Yeah. I don't know. It was fun. Driving was, I have no distance on driving, but I was getting pretty good at keeping everything pretty straight. So I was like, all right, there we go.
Very nice.
So yeah. Other than that, had a Halloween the other night. So we were out at my brother's place and family all dressed up. My son was, we dressed him up as a bee, and then the wife and I were beekeepers.
Nice.
So that was fun. And obviously he's too young to really understand trick or treating, but he likes hanging out with his cousins. So they had a good time. And just my parents were there, my cousin and his family were there, and then my brother's in-laws were there too. So it was just a good group of people, just fun to hang out. So yeah.
Nice. Sweet. I also went golfing in Wisconsin, and there was actually a couple places that were still open since it hasn't really like snowed or anything. So I brought I went with my father-in-law and my 2-year-old, and he loved it just because he got to drive the golf cart. So we had a DD, which was awesome. So no, it was a lot of fun though. He would come on the greens with us, and suddenly my putting got really good when I had a toddler throwing it in the hole for me. So my score was a little bit more improved, and he was just excited that he got to drive the golf cart.
Nice. Oh, I remembered that golf course name. I think it was Palmbrook.
Oh yeah. I have a few friends who've gone over there quite a few times.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Connor, did you go golfing?
I didn't know we were supposed to, but I put a nice
Yeah, that was
lawn.
the homework.
That's the closest thing to golfing. We
Yeah.
should go though. I'd like to be invited out. Let's go sometime.
Yeah.
Play a scramble.
All right, Alex, we're gonna do a Christmas
Let's do it.
little golf outing. So
Yeah.
you need to fly down to Arizona.
I'll let my wife know it's a business trip.
Business trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Multi-state real estate investor mogul needs to check.
It's for a charity. It's for me.
No, it's a business meeting. You're going to talk to a contractor. You're going to talk to a real estate agent about best practices for
about how to
stuff, and
become
there
a
you go.
mogul.
Yeah,
There
essentially.
you go.
All right. Well, before we get into the real business part of our podcast, we have to give a shout out to the official sponsor of this episode and every episode of the Sledgehammers The Office podcast. It's Shamrock Farms. Chocolate milk, the whole milk. And what I started doing last week was, I decided I need to get on a little bit of track my calories because I was throwing a lot of food down and I haven't been as active as I have in the past, but I've been very conscious to make sure that there's plenty of room in my calorie tracking for plenty of Shamrock Farms chocolate milk. It's a great treat to turn to at the end of the day. When you've done a good job, you need to just say, let's go to bed. Let's do it right. Shamrock Farms chocolate milk to send us on our way.
I gotta know how many of these ads are on the spot, or are you like writing scripts for this? How prepared are you?
I used to write scripts for it. I haven't written one in months.
You're just a natural.
It's all it is love. Like
speaks
if
from the
you
heart.
had, if you had to say something nice about your wife right now, it's not like you'd have to go like, geez, give me a week and I'll prepare for this. Like,
I might need a couple days. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
For
all of
Shamrock chocolate milk, I could do it right away, obviously.
Are we all going to admit that we love Shamrock Farms more than our wives right now? What's happening?
I have not said that. You guys can debate. Who
Connor
loves
said that.
chocolate
I heard
milk
him
more
say
than
that
me.
actually. I think if we edit out the words and then it just says Connor saying, I did say that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll send a recording to your wife.
Yeah.
We'll deep fake it with AI.
There you go.
All right, enough of the shenanigans. Let's get into the business. We're going to hit a couple industry stats real quick before we really get into it. So we track materials costs because Thanksgiving's coming up and people are going to say some dumb things at the Thanksgiving meal with how much material prices are going up. And you can tell them that 2x4s are at $365, plywood's at $19.38, copper's at $32.26. All of these have stayed relatively stable. Copper's the only thing that's really gone up throughout the year. If anything, 2x4s have gone down. Other materials in other building materials may have gone up, but we're not tracking those in there. So you can tell your Aunt Karen to slow down on all her stuff, that material prices just keep going up. So this last month, we took in $104,000. Still, I got to figure out how to do it. Right now, the net number doesn't look good in the account because essentially we're closing out a couple projects and I haven't billed on the schedule that I was supposed to bill on. So we're going to have a nice influx of money here in the next week or so. Action steps from the last month. We have it's like a spec book that a designer would use, and I shouldn't even say that. It's like a step down. It's going to be a contractor spec book. So if we're not working with a designer, it's something that we can have. Hey, here's what your tile's going to look like. Here's the plumbing finishes, all these things. So we can get all those done ahead of time. And I was able to build that out. And I honestly just stole the way that a designer was doing it. And she was doing it in Canva. So I went and figured out how to do it in Canva. And I was like, oh, that was actually a lot easier than I thought. So got that all done. And the part that I was really happy about with that is I didn't get to use the spec sheet just yet, but a lot of the stuff we've been working on the last couple months with the portfolio book, with some of the other processes, getting our walkthroughs done, stuff like that, I was able to use on a walkthrough. And I could just tell during the walkthrough that I impressed the customer quite a bit because they just kind of, it was husband and wife. The husband kept looking through the portfolio book. And they were like, oh, we really like the tile on this project, stuff like that. So that's something where I was like, all right, we're heading in the right direction. I also know that they had multiple contractors out to their house for some of the stuff out there. And I'm pretty sure I was like the most expensive guy out there. But I also got the feeling that they want to go with me for at least the bathroom portion of what's going on, because some of the other things, I think they're like, yeah, it's fine if we spend a little less on that, but on the bathroom, it's like, we should probably get that right. So that was a nice little pat on the back for me, at least to the ego. So action steps going into next month. I don't have usually we try and keep this very real. This month, it's going to be a little more. We're trying to convert a lead to a job. And we've talked about it a bunch of times that November, December are the worst times for remodeling, just because no one wants you tearing apart their house. So we've got projects that are going on right now that financially we're going to be fine, but essentially we're going to close out all of our projects by the end of November. So December, we're a little open on the schedule. So if anyone needs something done, give me a call. We've got stuff that we're working on selling for January right now. So they're larger projects too, which I'm happy about. So I'd love to even just say, hey, if it were to come down to, we're going to take December off because one, we can't afford to, and there's other stuff that we can work on internally for the business. That's fine. But I really want to get some of these jobs converted at least for January, just so we know it's like, hey, we're going to take a month off and then we're going to get right back into it, rather than being like, oh dear God. So yeah, converted job is the action step for November. And then something I want to highlight for what I've been doing this last month was running paid ads. And I was a little nervous to start doing this. And I actually texted Connor about this, where I was like, hey, do you think I'm getting shiny object syndrome? And he was kind of like, no, we walked through it. He's like, no, you're fine. Go ahead and I think you're fine to start it. So I ended up using acquisition.com. They have an AI, and I got it as a part of a book package that I purchased back in August. I was able to use that. There's a leads book and then an ads prep book that I was able to put some stuff together. And essentially the protocol was like, hey, we're going to start with writing out 50 hooks. And the hooks are going to be like the first 3 seconds of your ad. So it's because most people, if you're scrolling Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, it's going to be, you need to grab their attention in 3 seconds. Otherwise they're gone, especially for our ads, when someone can see it's an ad or it's sponsored by. So we made a list of 50 of them, and some of them have a repetitive theme. And then we're going to build out 3 to 5 kind of the meat and potatoes section behind, like, what are we trying to say? So it's grab their attention. That's going to be your hook. And then what are the what's the overarching theme of what you're trying to communicate? And then finish it out with a call to action. And that's going to be like, fill out the form, give us a call. Here's how to contact us. Or it's like you're telling them what to do on the next step. So we got that done. We recorded several of the ads. We started with 4, and then we ended up cutting one of them because one just wasn't performing as well. And we just moved the budget over. But currently, right now, our goal is to spend $100 a day on ads. Eventually, I think we talked about some of the ad stuff before, that we're going to try and ramp that budget up to like $200 a day. But we're starting with 100 right now. And honestly, I haven't even gotten to 100. Meta won't let you start with 100. They let you start with $50 a day. And I think my budget that they allowed me to like spend now is like 128, but it's like after 7 days, you're allowed to do that. So as of right now, I think we're a week in. We had 26,000 total views across the 3 ads, 900 landing page views to our website, and we have had 0 people fill out the form. So the way that it's working is we have the video ad, and they all essentially end with fill out the form, and we'd love to reach out to you. And then if they click the contact us, it redirects them to our website with the Let's Connect page, and they fill out the form. What's your name, email, phone number, and what do you want to do? We have it in a 15-mile radius from there's a sports complex in North Phoenix over here. So essentially, and it's not far from my house. So it makes it where it's like, it's a 15-mile radius from my house. And it definitely is the area that I want to be working in. So I'm hoping that kind of converts. And talking to a friend of mine, there's some months where it's like, you're not really going to see anything. And there's other months where you're going to have a decent amount of leads come through. And so I'm just being patient with like, all right, we've had a week and that's fine. It's like, let's give it the full month to see what comes through. The other thing is we're going to try and iterate on it to see, we've got the ads we've got running right now are videos, and we'll try and do one that is more of like the carousel where you swipe through the photos, or you have a static photo just to see what does the performance look like between the video and the carousel or the static one. And then also when someone clicks the button to fill out the form, it redirects them away from Instagram, Facebook. So we're going to try and have it where they can fill out the form on Instagram or Facebook to try and just keep them in the app, see if that does anything to people filling out the form and whatnot. So that's essentially what we've been doing for the most part. I've got some stuff on the cold outreach and then also on warm outreach that we're I guess that's a little bit also of what our action step for next month is. But a lot of that work I've handed off to my sister who's working with me. So she's taken the charge on that. And I've kind of said, hey, here's what I want to be doing with it. And so I set the parameters, and then she kind of takes it from there. So, but I'm going to try and in December, I'll lay out, hey, here's how we're doing it. Here's what we've done, because we also have something with Christmas that we're integrating into all of it. But that's a little teaser for next month. So
what's one thing about setting up the ads that you were a little bit surprised about? You know, from because I know you played with ads a long time ago. What's different this time versus last time?
I've tried to sit, like, before I looked at some of the ads that I had run, and they have the headline and description, and it was so wordy. Like, I tried to pack the, like, we're the heavy hitters for your, and it just like this long sentence. And now it's very much like, how do we just make it, we remodel. That's all we want to communicate. We're here, we remodel. That's it. So trying to keep it very much of a hook. Like, before we had done the static pictures, I don't think they were the greatest. So we've got some unique hooks. I've taken some stuff from other guys that I saw their ads, and I was like, ooh, that's a good one right there, and redone it. And it honestly, we've seen some good results from it. So stuff like that. One thing that was annoying was trying to set up the payment for it. I would have thought it's the easiest thing in the world to where they just want to take my money, because I'm paying with a Visa card. It's through Chase. So it's not like some obscure bank. It's not like it, whatever. But I had multiple issues where I was trying to set up the ads and pay for them for days, and it wasn't going through. So I'm not sure if it's something on the bank, or if it was something on Meta, or if it's something in between. But I was just like, why is this happening? Now, it took me several days to get it sorted, and now I've kind of figured out, all right, here's how I need to do it to just make it work. And it's been fine. But that was one thing that I just found that was like, that's a little annoying, especially for like how easy I thought for how easy everything else is for the most part. So,
Right.
but yeah.
So you're doing Facebook ads. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. It publishes Facebook and Instagram. From what I've heard, TikTok doesn't convert the best with selling things. So it makes the most sense to stick with Meta, because there's people will talk about, if you really want to convert, then what you do is you push people from like TikTok to Instagram, because that's going to be the best place to sell. Now, a lot of times I think that's more of product selling, whereas I'm selling a very high ticket service. But and the one addition I'll add to that is that X might be a place that I would start advertising as well. And a lot of times that's because the people who are on X have on average a higher disposable income to throw at things like that.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, it is really interesting to see the breakdown of social media. I just don't think older generation is going to be using TikTok as much, and I doubt like a lot of Gen Z people are necessarily in the market for remodeling. Not to say that they won't be, but not right now compared to like older generations. And I think Facebook's a good spot. I'd be curious about something like maybe Reddit or something like that too. I feel like that's kind of one of the obscure things where, and like Phoenix subreddits and stuff like that, but I have no idea how ads go and targeting goes in something like Reddit.
Yeah.
You could take non-refundable deposits for bathroom remodels on TikTok Shop. See how that goes.
Yeah, for a lot of things on the TikTok Shop, typically people are trying to do it seems like a lot of like Temu quality stuff, right? Like, and Thaddeus is clearly not China. A Temu. Yeah, China. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, but we'll see how it works. Like, my goal is, at least for the first month, we're gonna burn $3,000, and really, I want to do it for 4 months, because that seems to be the, like, if you're gonna do a marketing campaign, you need to at least give it 4 months. So like, I don't want to just be 30 days in and be like, it doesn't work. So we're going to try to iterate on it a little bit.
Are you thinking about publishing your ads like to the actual page as well, or at least some of the better performing ones?
No, because they're very they're very much an ad, and the page is very much not an ad.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like one of the things we thought about doing was we're going to try and have an ad that is more specific. Like we're going to do a Thanksgiving ad, we're going to do a Christmas ad, we're going to do like a New Year's ad, we'll do a Valentine's Day ad, and we've kind of thought through like some of like, all right, this would be funny to do, and those are going to be more comedic. And like honestly, we won't put the same dollars behind those unless we actually saw like that's performing a lot better than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
But like the one for Thanksgiving is going to be like, do you not want to host your family for Thanksgiving this year? And then it's like, stuff like that. So it's.
Do you want to have an excuse for why you can't? That'd be great. Oh,
essentially.
no. Yeah.
Yeah. So that type of stuff I feel like would be funny to post to the Instagram because it's comedic. And it can't like that would be we can have that as a routine thing. So right now I'm trying to be very conscious of as I'm putting more things on the plate, not dropping the ball in other areas. So the nice part is that with some of the cold outreach, like my sister's doing that and when she's working for me. So I don't have to worry about, hey, if I'm focusing on ads, am I not focusing on this other thing? And it's like the stuff on the cold outreach, I can be paying attention. Like I can check in on what she's doing. What's the verbiage? How are we doing it? What are people responding to, not responding to? I can kind of sit on it when I get windshield time and then talk to her and say, hey, I think we should tweak it this way. But then she's doing the implementation. Whereas on the ads, I'm not having her do implementation or any of the work on ads so that she can stay completely focused on that one lane and then go from there. Cool. Anything else?
Nope. That was a great overview.
Cool. Connor, hit us with what's going on in the real estate industry.
What is up? Real estate industry still slow. Heading into just like your industry, Thad. Who wants to sell their house in between Thanksgiving and Christmas? It's tough. It's a tough time. But so we're looking at 28,700 active listings this month, and that's up again. I should count. I think every month so far has been up from 27,900 last month active listings. So it's just steady increase. Closed listings did go up a little bit, 5,800, which is up from 5,600. So we saw 200 more. And interest rates are pretty similar, but they did drop 20 basis points or so. So 5.55.
Real quick on that. I thought there was an announcement that interest rates were cut like a larger amount. Am I misunderstanding something on that?
No, you're right. They were cut 25.25%, 25 basis points on October, but a lot of lenders will say they kind of already had that one baked into the cake. So rates pretty much stayed similar. Because we saw earlier in October, I mean, from September to October, we saw it was like 0.3% drop. So they, based on predictions and what they're thinking, lenders will drop the rates earlier than the actual Fed rate date. So, but it did drop, and it's been continuing to drop, which is good for homeowners, good for people needing to refinance, and right at about 5.5%. So I'm just thinking earlier last year, I had some clients get a loan for 7.3%. A few, I'm thinking of one 7.3, one at 7.4, and you can already refinance for almost 2 percentage points lower, and that could equate to several $100s a month, less in interest and more in principal. It bounces out. So I think it's moving in the right direction. They say no change next month, but we will see. Don't know. Recapping some numbers for November rent, we're only at the 3rd. We just had a weekend, but we're right at 90%. So still, I think 3 people have yet to pay. Maybe it might be 4. Now that I'm thinking about it, 3 or 4 yet to pay. The rest were early on time, which is great. We have 1 vacancy at the moment, a 1-bedroom apartment in Tempe. Giving rent referrals if anyone has a renter for a 1-bed with a backyard. It's a nice unit. We had 2 move-ins last month, kind of the second half of the month. I haven't done this as much, but we actually got a tenant referral from an existing tenant. So we threw it out there. We had a 2-bedroom, and existing tenant had a friend needed to move in, which is great. So I'll probably do that a lot more. I don't know. We would usually send out an email and a text from our company line, and I've had a couple people over the years respond. I'm like, maybe I'll just do it because they know me. Either I helped to move in or toured it with them. They know me, so I texted them. And then several people actually were interested in the 2-bedroom, and we have another vacancy coming up for a 2-bedroom, and I have 2 of our existing tenants wanting to upgrade to a 2-bedroom, which would be nice. So trying to use more tenant referrals there. This month or last month, part of our mailing campaign, we closed on a house flip. After months of sending out mailers and following up, we got one closed, which is exciting.
Nice. Which, real quick on that, as far as how much did you spend on the mailers to get that one?
Actual mailers, it was about like $4,200. And then,
what would be your typical acquisition cost for a property like that?
Man, just thinking about our last, 10 wholesale deals, ranges between 10 to 20,000 in fees. Jeez. So we're a fourth of the price.
Yeah,
half to a fourth. We did have a lot of monthly subscriptions for different services for them. So all in, we're probably right at 6,000, maybe 5,800. But still, and then that can compound.
It's still at least like a 50% to 60% discount.
Yeah.
Or more.
I'm thinking we bought it for funny story about the house. So we bought it from a son whose mother owned the home, but she has dementia and they're moving her into a home. So he's helping to facilitate his power of attorney. So we're talking, he's a really nice guy. He's telling me about his job. He's a professional Santa Claus up in Northern California. You guys know what that means? Have you ever met one?
I have not.
I haven't. He like all the parades and Thanksgiving Day parades in San Francisco, he's the official Santa. He's the official Santa for the Golden State Warriors, and he does these Santa Claus wine tours in Napa Valley. I don't know what that entails, but when he came down, I saw his license plate and it said Santa Wine Tours on a bumper sticker. And I don't know what I was expecting when I met the guy. He's a Santa. I wasn't expecting to actually meet Santa. This guy had a full-on white beard, white hair. He was wearing all red, just a bright red t-shirt and bright red pants. I'm like, he is in the full swing of things.
Those guys do not mess around.
It's serious. I asked the wife, like, I don't know, are you Mrs. Claus? Do you help out? And she goes, no, that's his thing. I'm not a part of this. But he's been doing it 20, 30 years.
Wow.
A long time.
What a job.
Really nice guy. So the house we bought, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, pretty standard, 1,400 square feet. Nice corner lot. It's about 8,500 square foot lot. Overall house is in good shape. Just gonna do a cosmetic rehab mostly. Probably new kitchen cabinets, new floor, interior, exterior paint, fixtures. Doesn't need a lot. This house, though, the former homeowner, she was an owl collector. Have you guys ever met an owl collector?
I have not. Did she have a ton of like stuffed owls in there?
She had, I counted about 500 to 800 like figurine owls.
Oh, okay. Figurines. I was like, stuffed owls is something, but figurines.
There were stuff. There were shirts. There were stuffed animals. The cover plates were owls. The lamp poles were owls. Pictures, books, everything. And I threw it up on Facebook Marketplace thinking I'm going to get an owl collector, and I got a lady who bought everything from me. She was so excited. And she came last Friday. I guess she runs a boutique vintage little store, but she also loves owls. She's going to keep a bunch herself. So. But she's so happy. And yeah, I'm thinking this is someone's life work of collecting all this stuff. I'm just going to throw it away, but no, I gave it a new home.
There you go.
So goal for this house is we're cleared out all the furniture, all the owls. So it's a clean slate, and we're starting on a demo this Wednesday. And then hopefully, since it's a tough time to sell, kind of be ready by the new year. List it for sale. We got about 9 weeks. I think we'll probably be done in 6 weeks, but I don't want to list it on December 15th. Maybe. We'll see. Overall, happy about it, and starting to do more mailing campaigns and sequencing using different mailers. I found a new company who can send to the same addresses, but different mailers, different slogans, different things, and just have more touch points with the same people. Give them a list of 3,000 to 5,000 houses and just hit them over. They send them every 2 to 4 weeks. I'm going to continue to do that because we have time, and it worked once, so it'll work again, right?
Right.
I think. And then action steps from last month. We ended up refinancing the 2 houses like we were talking about, which is great. We closed on the one, and which the owl house, which we're talking about. And then still talking to a couple different homeowners / investors to buy the house. Still in the works, but I think just getting this one under our belt and starting the whole process, seeing it from start to finish, close, and then now renovating. It feels good, guys. It's not wasted time. I think there is something there. So excited about it. And then just something I wanted to highlight is having a vision and purpose for your work. So we've gone over the years of having visions, purpose, but I know it's a vision and purpose is important so you can execute your daily goals with a certain set of practices. So I don't have something firm or solid for this, but this is what we're going to work on. But it's not getting monotonous and bogged down to the daily stuff, but actually having a purpose for the daily tasks you do to succeed in something bigger. And it has to be more than and bigger than. Just don't want to grow our portfolio and do more houses, but boil it down to seeing our homeowner. We actually helped his family, a son, wife, mother, his mom, sell their house. They needed the money to move her into a home. We went back and forth. We didn't, extremely lowball them. They were happy. We shook hands at the end. They were thanking me. I helped out, and overall, we kind of did what said we were going to do, and didn't pull the rug out from under them at the last second, which people do in this industry, and it really sucks, and it gives people in real estate a bad name. But I'm going to continue, give people dignity when they need to sell their house quick, because it can be a hard time for sure. And you see it, they're struggling, but I think they came out on ahead, and so did we. So it was a win-win. So overall, really good.
Nice.
All right. Awesome. All right. is it cool if I hop into the AI news? I'll put on my news reporter hat if everyone's ready. All right.
I'm ready.
Do you not
Okay.
have a hat?
It's invisible. I have this.
You got your
That
news
was
report
fun.
I have
headphone.
this tie. Do you want this tie? Can you put it on really quick? No, just kidding. Okay, October. Kind of an absolutely crazy time for AI news. So there's a few really big things that have happened that are going to have pretty big rippling effects. And I'm not saying this in terms of like AI is going to come for everybody's job. It's going to be a crazy time. Oh my gosh, everything's crazy. But OpenAI is starting to reveal their playbook. So I've seen this play out a lot in the Apple playbook. So I'm just going to call it what it is. It seems like OpenAI is copying Apple in a lot of ways. They're trying to build an entire ecosystem, right? So like Apple is really good at, you have your MacBook and that syncs really well with your iPhone, which syncs really well with your AirPods and your Apple Watch and all that stuff. And then once you're kind of locked into the Apple ecosystem, it's really hard to exit that ecosystem. So one thing OpenAI has done really good
Because
is
they're great products and you don't want to leave.
Sure.
Continue.
Yep. Anyways, so once they suck you in and they've got you locked in, OpenAI has done a really good job of becoming like the biggest platform, right? They were the first technology ever to hit 100 million users within a month, which had never happened before, okay? That was in 2023. Today, they're hitting 800 million weekly users. So people are logging on at least once a day or once a week to use ChatGPT, which is insane. Now they're trying to monetize that in a lot of different ways by making it the ecosystem. So they're working on external devices under the hood. They've just released a browser called Atlas that is supposed to be like an AI browser that competes with Google Chrome. They've created a software developer kit. They're trying to use ChatGPT as an app store. So now it's super integrated. They officially released Sora, which was their AI video generation social media. And while a lot of that is bogus and not everything is necessarily sticking, it is keeping them constantly in the headlines. That alongside with $130 billion in infrastructure deals between getting certain graphics card setups, different infrastructure updates, different agreements with Microsoft, they are just expanding like crazy. It is crazy. And so with ChatGPT kind of taking a majority of the market share, you're now seeing other AI companies really start to pivot into something to make them sticky. So while ChatGPT has kind of become the generalist in a lot of things, you're seeing other AI companies or other technology companies try to really find their niche. So Anthropic, which is Claude, if you haven't ever heard of Claude, is kind of like the second most popular AI that's currently being used. They just created their own Excel add-in. Now, that's a big deal because the Excel add-in is despite the fact that ChatGPT has an exclusive agreement with Microsoft. So that's a little bit weird in terms of, so Copilot is Microsoft's tool that's integrated into all of their stuff. It's typically using ChatGPT behind the scenes, but Anthropic would still be able to create their own Excel add-in that people are using. And Anthropic seems to be targeting a lot of finance-specific people because they want to remain like specialized. And they're tuning a lot of models for the finance and coding sector. So you're seeing that in a lot of niche areas, a lot of executives, a lot of developers are choosing Claude over ChatGPT because it's just better at the stuff that they need. Another huge deal is Anthropic had to pay $1.5 billion in fines for pirated books. So they had stolen books to use for training without paying for them. Now, don't get me wrong. Anthropic is not the only company that has done this. OpenAI and ChatGPT and all these other big things have stolen plenty of online media, YouTube videos, books, whatever, to train all of their models without giving credit to the authors. Anthropic was the first one to go to court for it and ended up paying essentially, I think it was like $3,000 a textbook, which is crazy. And then you also see companies like Canva, who is known for more of like the design side. They're now using AI to focus on like design specific stuff. So Adobe is starting to do similar things, and they're all trying to say, hey, this is how we make this workflow easier with AI. And because they're so integrated in that niche, it's a lot easier to go with them versus using ChatGPT, that again is still trying to be the generalist. So overall, you're seeing OpenAI is trying to control the models. They're trying to own the dev tools, and they're trying to capture the platform economics. What I mean by that is when everyone's using them and they have the big foundation and they have all the infrastructure, they're going to win most of the time. So a lot of companies right now are having a choice. Like, are we going to build on OpenAI's platform? There's a chance you get locked in, but there's also a chance that you fall behind because ChatGPT has a little bit of everything. Or do you take a risk and go for something more specific like Anthropic, Canva, Adobe? Is it worth paying for all these systems? So a lot of companies
Real quick question on that.
Yep.
When you said that people are building on that, would that be like if the three of us said, hey, we want to build some kind of AI, are we able to build on the infrastructure that ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or any of those have done, or is that something separate?
Yes, you can build on them. Right now, it's a little bit of a Wild West. So it's kind of like when Microsoft and Apple were first starting to race in terms of everyone's like, okay, what operating system do I want my software to work on? Because you have to code it completely differently if you use Microsoft versus with Apple. Nowadays, most software is pretty open in terms of the AI stuff, in terms of you can switch out AI. Now, where OpenAI is trying to be different is they're creating an overall infrastructure below that of saying, hey, it's easier to build in our ecosystem rather than it is to just reference our apps. So that's the difference. So you've started to see things like Replit, Bolt, Lovable, all these AI tools that are supposed to code for you and do everything perfectly, and they swap out AI like anybody's business. It really doesn't matter. But ChatGPT
So real quick, just to make sure I understand this correctly, are we talking about one of them is if we decided to say, hey, we want to create the Cyto podcast AI, then we could use Replit, Bolt, or some of those other companies that you talked about. But what OpenAI is doing is more specifically saying we're trying to now create products that we can monetize off of, and that they want people like us not to necessarily build off those platforms, but be a consumer. So like on Chrome, I think, or Google, not Chrome, sorry, Google search has like 90% of search out of all of the internet. And so they're coming in and saying, hey, how do we try and carve out a section with using ChatGPT search or whatever they're going to the AI browser? Is that what they're doing as far as trying to make a product that, hey, you all love what we do, come use our search engine, essentially?
Yes. The short answer is yes. The OpenAI is trying to make a little bit of everything that it's just easier to stay in their ecosystem versus every other app might have more functionality, but the connections aren't as good. And so you can technically swap out AI better, but everything else doesn't work as seamlessly versus OpenAI is trying to get to a point where you have hardware, you have software, you have browser, everything integrates. So think about if you log in on an Apple device with your Apple ID, everything is automatically signed in. And all your history, all your messages, everything. You sign into your MacBook with that same Apple ID, everything is synced automatically. So OpenAI is kind of going that route, keeping everything together.
So would the long-term idea be that as you start to switch between the different things that they're building out, it has better context on what you're doing?
Yes,
okay, gotcha.
Exactly. So then it knows you, right? It knows you. It's like, oh, okay, you've been looking at this in chat. Well, maybe you want a video that's generated, tailored to your needs, or have a perfectly personal social media that only shows the things you want to see based on all the things you do on the OpenAI stuff. So it's going to be like hyper personalized, and so it's going to be very interesting to see how other AI try to compete against that.
So, and then going to, like you said, Anthropic is doing the Excel build-in. And then you've got Canva doing its thing. Like, is this triggering some of the AI companies to say, we've been working so much on development of like just capabilities, now we need to try and work on development of something that is marketable, or that they could make marketable right now, that says like, hey, like Canva's the easy one, right? Like most, if people know what it is, that it's like, all right, you're designing things with it. If it's thumbnails or digital whatever, like digital artwork, essentially you're doing it in Canva a lot of the time. So it's, are they trying to use their AI to monetize that better? Or Anthropic, as far as like you said, with the, it's going to be more executive friendly because or executive tailored, because they're trying to say, hey, we can keep building out the abilities of this thing, but we need to kind of niche it down to try and say, how do we make it the best? And then we can turn around and monetize it right now.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like a pick-me competition in terms of a lot of things, because you saw things like Replit and Bolt were doing really, really good, and then Lovable came out of nowhere and just had better marketing. It's not necessarily that it was a better tool. Same thing with Anthropic and Canva versus OpenAI. They're trying to say, hey, here's where we're different. We're doing this thing really, really well. And ChatGPT is trying to maintain its lead, but it's struggling. So it's trying to build its ecosystem. So it's not just about the AI, but all the things that you can do with their ecosystem.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it is really interesting to see that. Other major news that I think is really important to highlight here is both Amazon and Microsoft had significant outages. When I'm talking about a significant outage, I mean, every business process was disrupted for 15 plus hours, which has never happened before. Giants like Amazon and Microsoft typically have like tens of thousands of redundancies in place so all of their servers don't go down. This is due to the massive AI use that's going on. So right now, our current infrastructure, when I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm talking about energy and data centers, are not able to currently keep up with the AI that's being used. And as we build bigger and bigger and smarter models, they only take up more processing power and thus more energy. Even here in Wisconsin, they're busy building, I think it's like a $10 billion plant that's going to take 4 years to build up. It's going to take millions of gallons of water to keep it cool. And there's 6 or 7 other data warehouses that are going to be built like that in Wisconsin alone. So you're seeing there is an insane amount of investment right now in the data infrastructure side of things, as everyone's racing to catch up of like, hey, we got to just have more processing. We got to have more processing because everyone is trying to, there's this race for what they call super intelligence, which they're defining as an AI that can think for itself and self-improve and all that kind of stuff. Last, definitely not least, is the business application. So we kind of talk about all the area that AI is going. It's really easy to feel AI FOMO in a lot of this, right? In terms of, oh my goodness, I as a plumber am not using AI. What am I missing out on? I want you to walk away with this. 95% of AI projects are still unprofitable, despite over $60 billion of investments. And I'm not talking about investments to develop the AI models. That's the investments of companies purchasing AI and using AI to any regard to improve things in their workflows. So 95% of those companies, 95% of that spending has not shown a return on investment. And it could just be a timing issue, right? As people learn and get up to speed on a lot of things. But we've had AI as it is today, at least for the last year and a half. So we're still not seeing real profitability from all these magical tools that are coming out. Like, don't get me wrong, they look cool, they're helpful. I use it personally, but companies are still really struggling to see, okay, how is this truly moving the needle for my business?
Which, and I think that would go to, most people don't understand probably how a lot of the investing and venture world works, where it's, you're hedging your bets that this is going to be 1,000x return on investment. And so that's why people are saying, hey, we're willing to dump so much money into it. And a big part of it is there's a dramatic proof of concept. And part of the proof of concept is the users that are on there. And how you talked about at the beginning, there's 800 million users using, was that GPT alone, or was that
just ChatGPT?
Yeah, and it's not like they have a 90% stranglehold on the market either. So we have had an enormous adoption of AI by the world population. So people know that, hey, when this does get turned on, the money that comes from it's going to be insane. Now, in some ways, it is very much a roulette game as far as, is it going to be that there's one winner that comes out of it? Are there going to be just a handful? And is it the handful that we have in front of us, or who's dropping out because they're getting left behind? So, but a lot of that, I'd say, to your point, where if people feel like they're getting left behind in it, this is the venture world. The venture world is really different compared to if we take the trades, if we take even what Connor's doing in real estate, that a lot of times if you're not a venture business, you're more of like a cash cow business. That's what you're trying to be. Now, there's a lot of businesses that aren't profitable, but the goal is that you make profit and you're trying to make consistent profit, increase those profits every year. And that's what it's all about. Unless you're really building, saying, hey, we think we have something proprietary that could give someone 1,000x return on investment. It's completely different. So we get to sit back and, to your point, Alex, and say, hey, who's coming out on top? Like, do we want to get ourselves locked into a system? Is it built out? Is GPT built out far enough, or Anthropic, Grok, whoever, to say, hey, we're going to tie a significant amount of our infrastructure to it? Now, the good news for Connor, me, and a lot of the other small businesses, that it's like, for us, it doesn't matter because our businesses are so plastic that we can move and change as needed. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And so it's really, when the numbers get this ridiculous, it's so easy to dissociate. Be like, all right, I don't see how this is going to affect me. But I really do think it's a very odd time to be alive, and especially be in a business. We're going to see things change, and I think in the history books, it's really going to, like, these next couple of years and these past 2 years are really going to be kind of the key turning points for a lot of things. So I'm really interested to see where this goes, and it's pretty exciting to see how these companies are kind of battling it out in a really hot space. So yeah, I'm excited about it. But anyways, Thaddeus, we don't want to hear my thoughts. What are your company thoughts?
Cool. Tonight's company thoughts are what's in the fridge. And this is a metaphor when it comes to a business, as far as when you approach your business and say, essentially, we're looking to build this thing. It's the same way that you would go to the fridge. It's I'm going to go have dinner after this. If I open the fridge and go, all right, what's in here? We're going to try and put together dinner off of that. And that's more my technique versus my wife's technique of, hey, we need to go plan out what we're having for the week and put all of that in the fridge. Now, this long metaphor is to say a lot of business owners will, especially in the industries we're in, they start a business because they're good at something. They start getting traction, start realizing, I'm getting spread thin. They hire someone, and it kind of just repeats that cycle where that person has stuff that they're getting spread thin on, so we should bring someone else in. But things kind of start to get out of hand. So the big overarching part of this is to say, hey, with Connor talking about what's the vision for the company, what's the long-term goal, where are we trying to be in 3, 5, 10, and 30 years with where we're going, and then building your decision tree out based off of that. So an example of this that I've got, and this is kind of like the company thoughts are mostly on a scenario that I ran into, was I had a friend that he's looking to hire 2 people and said that it's so hard to hire people, especially like they're in the trades. And so I asked, like, hey, what's your hiring process? And essentially it's put an ad on Indeed. That's it. I'm like, that's not hiring. And that's also like not so hard, because it's, at the end of the day, that's not really hiring. like yes, you are, but you're not even trying. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you're looking to hire and if that is a problem and it's a repeated problem, especially for guys in the trades, and I think it's spilling over into a lot more service-based businesses, period. The question then becomes, how do we start creating a pipeline of people that are available and able to work in the business that we have? But going back to, if we're starting with what are we putting into the fridge compared rather than what's in the fridge right now, we start to hire differently. And the easy one with this would be Chick-fil-A versus McDonald's, right? We've talked about multiple times that if you want to be a franchisee of a Chick-fil-A, you've got to go through years of the training process. And we can think about it and say, that's so hard. And in the end, it's like, it's not really hard, but it's not easy, because they've been able to build the pipeline to where it works. And it's the same thing for us. So talking to my friend, and I'm now doing this project I call my Spike project, where like I'm essentially building out a whole hiring system, and I'm networking it with some churches and then also some organizations for young guys that are entering the workforce and stuff like that. And we're going to be connecting them to some of the trades that are hiring. Now, is it hard? Not necessarily, because essentially it's like, hey, employer, fill out this PDF, who you are, who they should contact, what you do, and what you require. And then you create a PDF that's like a fill in the blank resume. You make it easy for them. Now we can put our own twist on it, where it's like, don't show up and be like, I've got my long sleeve shirt on and I have experience doing blah, blah, blah. It's like, listen, no, like we're a very niche thing, whether it's a general contractor, electrician, if it's a window and door company, if it's an HVAC company, whatever. And we can be very precise with what we're doing. So it's like, hey, how are you when talking with customers? How do you deal with conflict, stuff like that? So at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And the big thing would be is like, hey, how do we start from, where are we going? What are we doing? What should we put in the fridge? Because we know that dinner's coming Monday night, Tuesday night. We're going to be hungry, rather than, I can throw together this funky sandwich of business and say, cool, we're good to go. So that's a lot of word salad to say. Like, a big part of it is, to Connor's point, have a vision, have a plan, and then also understand that sometimes things are not hard, but they're not easy either. It just takes a little bit of work. And also it's going to be, what can you stack on top of that? So I'm just going to tease it real quick. I've been kind of teasing it for a long time, is that a lot of this builds into the training program. I've been I'm very intentional with looking forward, where like, hey, where does this go? Because I can build this out. Other companies are going to use it. And I know that I'm going to use it better than they will. One, because I'm the one building it. And second of all, it's going to be very much that, like, hey, if I'm bringing in people of a certain caliber, I need to know what to do with them immediately. And we're then going to build out the infrastructure to have it tailored to them immediately. Where a lot of people are going to be able to show up and be like I become the fridge. That, hey, who's available? Cool, I'll grab that guy. And it's like, all right, well, did you go through the same vetting process we did? Did you create systems so that when they start with you, they can hit the ground running, be income producing quicker than anyone else, quicker than your competitors, stuff like that, so you can grow? It's like, so there's a lot to stack on top of it, but at the end of the day, it's not hard, but it's not easy either.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I feel like there's so many people who try the most basic thing and then act like it's a Herculean effort, and they're like, oh, it's so hard to do this thing. I'm like, what did you do? And the scale is just so small. But then, for them, that's like the biggest thing ever. Is on the other side, I've seen people who are like, oh man, I've applied to so many jobs and I haven't heard anything. I'm like, great, how many jobs did you apply to? 2. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not nearly enough.
Yeah. Well, and I look at, and other people look at it this way. So, but I look at hiring as it's marketing.
100%.
Because if we take the Indeed situation, so you're posting a job to a job board that's seen by a limited amount of people, that's competing against a lot of other people, and what kind of skill level are you going after? What infrastructure have you built for once that person comes in, you can actually use them well. And then it's just like, so you don't have anything beside, like, you have a very limited amount of people that come through. So it's how do you open up the amount of prospects that you can get access to? Because it's the same thing that we talked about a couple of months ago. You need the prospects to go to leads to essentially go to hires. And then the retention and referral happens from there. As far as you want to keep the person, build the skills so that they become more valuable. And then it's like, ask that person, hey, do you know anyone that's like you that can fit this mold and do what you're doing? But it's, and then on the employee side, to what you said, Alex, is that it's like, hey, how much volume have you gone through? Like that, it's, if someone is looking for a job, how many applications are you willing to put in and to be able to hit that volume correctly? And how many channels are you willing to go after a company with to make it happen?
Yep. 100%.
Word.
Careful, don't say too much there, Connor.
At least be enthusiastic about it.
Word.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Where can people find you?
Connor Teich Real Estate, and then 4CsRE.com.
How do you spell it?
FORESEES.RE.com.
Nice. You can find me, Alex Von Reich, on LinkedIn or control-analytics.com.
Cool. We're on Instagram, Cyto Building, and then also the website, cytobuilding.com.
So until next time.
I hope your hammer stays accurate.
Your Wi-Fi fast.
And your work blessed.
See you, everybody.
See ya.